Good evening and welcome to the SHAC. My name's Barbara Gray from Clarity here in the UK, and we're set to do some colouring. It's a turtle, so it's going to be totally interesting this evening, and I've got some nice ideas and I'm here to keep you company. So I'm early to the party, and I've had a funny old day. I don't know how you are, but it just feels that I've been so anxious and so worried about I don't know what. And then I speak to Grace. She's in the same kind of frame of mind. A lot of her friends are, my mates are. So it's like there's something in the air, friends. So I don't think it's just me. I'm comforted to know that it isn't just me. And so I'm just waiting for a few of our friends to join us. And I think we're just going to have to travel gently, and just take it easy. There's so much going on, so much in the world, so much disturbing stuff. We're just getting bombarded. And, do you remember when we used to get together in the shack back in when it was lockdown and COVID? And do you remember we used to say, right, we're going to park all this stuff that's weighing us down. I'm going to leave it in the bags outside the door, and we're just going to come in here and relax and doodle and chat. And it's a safe place. It's a cool place. And perhaps that's the best thing this evening too. Then Dave said that there's a full moon this weekend, so that might have something to do with it. Who knows? Who knows, eh? But it's not just me, and I take comfort in that. And if you're anxious, it's not just you, and take comfort in that. The strength in numbers, friends, isn't there? Hey, Debbie, it's nice to have your company. Now, let's see who else is in the room with us. Thursday. So we'll wait a couple of minutes just to let our friends find us, because I really am early to the party. Grace is with us all the way from New York. Let me just check the volume, because I didn't do that while we're waiting for our friends. Let me just check, and sometimes I just need to dial it down a little bit so I'm not barking at you. Let's have a look. Yeah, it's quite loud, although I'm speaking quite quietly. Hello, hello, hello. Hi, hi. There you go. Not so bad now. Just dialed it down a little bit. I think that's better. Yep. There you go. All right. Hello, Ken. Nice to have your company too. So come on in, friends. I won't be able to read all your apparently the full moon is called the sturgeon moon this month. Sturgeon or surgeon? Sturgeon as in fish. Interesting. Sound is good. Early. Yeah, early to the party, Grace. Early bird catches the worm and all that. So I thought today we'd carry on our US trip. Well, actually, we started on Monday. We were in Monterey, weren't we? And we went to the Monterey Aquarium, and we drew a turtle. And so about an hour or so ago, I came up here and I immersed myself in the turtle exercise. So I've got some ideas. The driver got ahead of the game today, so she's got a little bit of direction. To be honest, it did me the power of good just to focus. Don't you find it's the same old, It's always like that. I can really be panicking about God only knows what. And then as soon as I do some sort of artwork, and it could be drawing, it could be painting, it could be pottery. Do you know what doesn't help is wearing these tinted glasses. Never mind. Maybe they'll get darker. They're these ones that they get dark in the sunshine, but they seem to have a permanent tint on them. That'll do. That's my excuse if I miss the lines tonight. Come on in, come on in. Yeah, so Yeah, like I say, if you know, it seems to me that when you get with your hands and you get out of your head, it's immediately just so therapeutic. Do you remember during lockdown? Nothing's changed. I look like Ringo Starr. Do I actually? I wish I had his money. And I wish I had his voice. Now, why do I look like Ringo Starr, I wonder? Oh, because I got the shaded glasses on. Do you mean John Lennon? Jesus, silly ass. Now, the tinted glasses, she means, yeah. Does Ringo Starr wear those too? I know John Lennon always did. Okie dokie. Right, now let's have a look. So I'll get started on a little bit of a recap, what we did on Monday, and then we'll take it forward. All right, so we started by drawing, do you remember, a turtle? So I thought it'd be a really nice thing to draw. I'm all over the place today, so bear with me. So what I did was, if you remember, I took a photograph of a mural when we were in Pacific Grove, really nice, on a wall in a pub, in a bar in Pacific Grove. It was called Fog and Hops. There you go. Shout out to a really cool place in Pacific Grove called Fog and Hops, or Hops and Fog. I can't remember. Either way, it gets foggy, as I told you on Monday, and they serve beer. So there was definitely logical. And Grace, yeah, you did mean John Lennon, didn't you, darling? I know. It's okay. It's a generational thing. Right. Okay. So we sketched. Let me see if I can show you. We sketched the turtle. Do you remember? Let me come in a little closer so that you can see it better. There we go. So we kind of sketched him on tracing paper, didn't we? Like that. And now let me think. Just before I forget, I just need to charge my mouse because this is the first time I've been on this computer, I think, for a while. So I had to reboot everything today. Right now, so this was the photograph that I took, and then this was the drawing that I did. Yeah. And so I've gone ahead a little bit further. And what I did was, I'll show you. So I took this one and I flipped him over, and then I took a soft pencil. So you can see it's quite black. So it wasn't the H one, it was the 5B. 5B. So B being black, 5 being very black. Okay. So what I did was I took a very black pencil, a 5B, and I went back over the lines. Quite thick, you see. So then this side was covered. Then I flipped it back, and then I took a sharp pencil. This one's H for hard, right? And then I retraced it again. So I thought it would make good sense if I did this once, just so that it's called calming my mind. There you go. So I thought, if I know what I'm doing this evening rather than winging it, it will calm me down. And it did. And then, because I did that, I had another idea. So I'll show you where I went on the bus, okay, where I was going to take you initially. And then I thought, hang on a minute, let's try something different. And then, you know, when you start to play what if, you know, like I've said before, haven't I? When you start to play what if, that means your mind is free of all those burdens and all that baggage and worry. You see, as soon as I start playing what if, I'm in the game. I'm immersed in the process, and I'm certainly not thinking about anything else other than what I'm going to do with this turtle. So there may be people saying, well, what is the point of wasting time, valuable life, on drawing a turtle? I think it's invaluable, because for that time, when I'm being creative, my mind is just back in Monterey. It's back in that happy space. Do you understand? It's the same when I'm doing pottery. As soon as I do pottery, it's like, I'm joyous. I'm just full of joy. So where's the harm in that, I say? Hey? So what I did was I took this little fella, right? Remember, got the soft black on that side. Then I redrew him. So then I took a piece of our stencil card. Okay, I just needed to get the process down, you see. Then I set it, I trimmed, good God, I trimmed this, right, so that it wasn't all over the place. And then I just trimmed it right so that it was at the edge, these two edges. It's almost like a finder, a locator. I trimmed these edges, so then I know if that edge lines up and that edge lines up, then I know that the tracing is in exactly the same place as my transfer. It's just transferring, isn't it, really? So what I did was, you see, I took the hard one and I transferred the lines. Immediately got a really good effect. Now, there's a slight difference. So then, of course, I looked at the picture and I thought, the lines are white. The lines, the tracks, the patterns on this beautiful turtle are white, not black. So, of course, I've done it in black and then I've transferred it and it's all in black too. So what I had to do then was go in with a very sharp pencil, sharp, like sharpened it. And then you'll see what I did was I added, you'll never know, right? But what I did was I added a double line, see? So that I've got this whiteness, see? Otherwise, you've just got where the white is, it's black, which is wrong. So what I did was I added a double line, see? Good enough, good enough. And then I thought, right, when we do it together, I'll add a double line when I start. Or I'll add such a faint line that you can't see it so much. And then I could do a double line around the outside of it, around the outside, around the outside. So those are my choices. And then colouring, what did I use to colour? Well, I did a little bit of experimenting and I picked half a dozen colours, polychromos. And then I thought that'd be a nice, I like those colours, you see. And, you know, you can use pencil and all sorts, but it's got like just a really light undercoat of cream. Then a little bit of, you see the yellow, the ochre. So a little bit of ochre just to get a bit of depth always on the lower side I did that. Warm grey, that toned it down so it wasn't quite so yellow. Then the green, the olive green, that's the main green really. So I did a little bit of patching on the green. And then the deep cobalt blue, sharp pencil, and then in we go to get a little highlight. And it's the cobalt that I went in and just did a little tiny bit, I'll show you. So that's where's the cobalt? Cobalt. It's a little bit, let me just sharpen it again. Just let me empty this sharpener. It feels like it's full. You know, the other thing is a cool, yeah, no wonder. Okay, now that'll be better. Okay, I like this sharpener. This is a Faber-Castell one. This one's good. I mean, there always was an alternative, and I don't think we sell them anymore. But if you, here we go. Look, I've always got one handy. Oh, my shoulder. These things. This is a great piece of kit. This thing, see, contrary to popular belief, this is like sandpaper on a block. Look, see. And what you do is, if you want to just, without losing loads of pigment, on a beautiful expensive pencil, you can just redefine the nib again just by using a piece of sanding paper, you see. And then when it gets really full, I mean, you can wipe it down and rub it off, but when it gets really full, then you just tear that away and you've got loads of them. Look, see all that. So that's a good practice when you're using pencils. See, and then once it's tight, then you can go in. See, even despite my weird glasses, I pretty much can see what I'm doing. But you see how you get that lovely shade, look, and that blue cobalt, that kind of cobalt greeny blue, it sits really nicely with the olive colour. See? So, but there's definitely a sequence, and I also, what I did was I ran around the tracks. Sounds like I ran around the tracks that I made with white, so that it kind of creates a bit of a resist as well. So that's what I did. Okay, and then I thought, okay, that's good because it really gives you good practice for colouring, you know, really nice to do. And we can use the grey on the neck. I mean, these are beautiful creatures, aren't they? Just beautiful. This is let's call this one the green turtle. So if we look at this, let's just pan out a little bit, and then we'll have another look at that lovely photograph that I pinched off the wall. Right, see? So this is a leather, I think this is called a leatherback turtle. It's a bit different, but it's you know, it's got a bit of yellow, it's got a bit of green, got a bit of cream and grey. Nice. Got the hops from the pub. But I liked this a lot. It appealed to me, and I like the colourways. So I'm just working with the colours that I've been offered here. But then I thought, I know, what about if you trace this instead of onto a white piece of card like I've done here? What about if you already had a background that was a bit grungy? Now, I don't know if you will remember these. We did these recently. These are those landscape backdrops. So they came in off the back of a workshop that I did after the open days. I did an alcohol ink workshop on jelly plates, and I think we're going to go online with that one, but not quite yet. But these came in off the back of that. So these are really useful to stamp into. They're just like instant. In fact, I'm going to use one of these tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. I'm doing just 1 hour, really smashing stamps. I think you'll like them. Okay, I'll show you them later before we call it a day today. But it would be really nice, I thought, if we take one of these backgrounds and then we put the turtle onto an existing background. See, they're very muted. They're all really lovely, right? There's no, you know, you could pick any one of these. See, and there you've got the 7x7 size, but then you've also, for every one of these, you've also got the smaller one and then the rinky-dink one, right? So you've got toppers and tags and the full-blown see, so you've got toppers and tags, but you've also got, what have I got here? Toppers and tags, toppers and tags, toppers and tags. Yeah, and then we did it with those little stamps, didn't we? But what I'm saying is the large one is absolutely bang on for what we're doing here. So you could take one like that that's got quite a lot of white in it. See, and then you could pop that in there like so. That looks pretty cool, doesn't it? Or you could take one that's a little bit more, see, he's already got a little bit of colour going on. Do you know what? I'm just going to go with the front one, just because it's there. And it says it all. It does what it says on the tin, right? Because the thing is, this is stencil card. So that means that when I transfer onto here, I'll be able to use my polychromos on there beautifully. So if you're looking for them on the website, I'm sure that Grace will be able to give you the link for these, or somebody will, eh? Somebody will, if they haven't already. But these are well worth, you know, like for quick makes, or, you know, and I've said it for years. Sometimes, look, there's one here. I've got them everywhere. They're just useful. You know, sometimes you look at a white blank piece of card and you think, where do I begin? You know, where do you start with a white bit of card? And it's a challenge, isn't it? And sometimes it's so nice just to already have a kind of a grungy, arty, subtle background, and then you can just develop it, explore it, develop it, you know. Just adding a few trees to this, you'd be blown away how effective it is, you know. Yeah, so keep your eyes peeled for that online course. I think you'll enjoy it. Now let's have a look. If we take this instead and we take that, then we're going to decide. See, I love that idea. Let me just take that small one and let's just check. No, I'm going with the larger one. The larger one's going to be absolutely brilliant. So now I'm gonna set that one like so. You see? So I'm hopeful that the ink, the pencil, sorry, so because I'm thinking about something else, right, like that, okay, and I'm optimistic that the pencil will transfer easily, even though I've already done it once. So this is an interesting, so I've already transferred it once, so now I'm transferring it again, and I haven't reloaded, if you know what I mean, but I did use a really soft black pencil, so I'm optimistic that there'll be some underneath. First thing we need is the shape, yeah, so I'm going to use a sharp pencil to get the shape. We've already had a request to turn this lovely turtle into a groovy plate. Do you know, it would make a super stamp as well. So yeah, why won't we? You know, let's colour him in. Let's do I'll tell you what we'll do. Let's do the front cover, shall we? So we'll do the front cover for the stamps and we'll include it in the groovy plate as well. Just a beautiful print. Why not? We did it in the SHAC. We drew it in the SHAC. And we're going to colour it in the SHAC. So what we'll do now is, let's see if this works. I'll just want to see, first of all, see the outline, let's have a look, of the shell. Let's get the turtle's shell going first. Now, yep, that's all I need, you see? So the shell's good. So let's do the outline, and then I know that I've done the outline, okay? So let's just do, have I done that bit? Yeah, cool. So we'll do the shell. And then I'll see if I can, I'm going to have to try and do something a bit more intelligent on the markings. They're fantastic markings though, actually, aren't they? I showed you on Monday when we got together. I showed you, I looked it up. It's so clever online. There's like a 3D, you look up 3D turtle, right? And you can see, it's a brilliant thing really. You can move the screen around and you can see the turtle from underneath, from that side. It's literally a 360-degree graphic trick that shows you the turtle from every single angle. So you can decide which angle you want to see it at. I took some photographs. Let me just show you, just to remind you. Just a second. because this was really interesting. This is how I drew the turtle. Is that it there? No, that's... Oh, I've done a lot this week. No wonder I'm anxious. Right, here you go. So you see, that was, I turned it and I wanted to look what they look like from underneath. So I wanted to see the size of the flippers. See the difference between these and tortoises, if that's a word, tortoises. Tortoises have legs and feet like elephants because they're land. They obviously evolved and came on land. These guys, they stayed in the water. So you see they've got those flippers. And then you see from the side, so now I've turned the 3D thing. It's a green sea turtle, see? And I wanted to see, because they're quite flat. Whereas a tortoise, if you've ever looked closely at a tortoise, is far more dome-shaped, isn't it? Right? So then this one, this was the one that I found interesting because it showed me, look at this, the markings, right? Which I was really happy to see that you got this around the edge, see? You've got that around the edge. And then you've got, it's 1, 2, 3, hexagons. Isn't that great? Yeah. So turtle, beautiful creature. Yep. Yeah, and then there it is swimming. So you can see what it looks like from the side. Interesting, isn't it? Different markings. And there it is from the top again. So it's well worth, if you're going to do this, look up 3D turtle images and then you can explore. And if you could do that with a turtle, you could do that with anything, you know. It's very, very clever for drawing. If you want to draw a squirrel, anything, a tiger, I don't know, elephant, 3D, and it gives you it from all different poses. It's well worth exploring that little trick. Now, let me see, Grace, where are you? Tortoises. Yeah, I didn't think there was a tortoise. Right, now, let's see. Let's get going then. Because I thought this would be a really nice, yeah, you see, so you've got your outside line. And then it will make it a lot easier. Yeah, right, result. It will make it a lot easier to colour in and create art when it's already got an existing background. Sorry, wrong camera. See, so this bit here, for example, I've got to the white. I may have to put the white in with a white Posca pen right at the end, like a super fine white Posca pen. That may be the way to tackle this bit. But for my money, I'm much happier doing it this way around. So let's just try something here. If I want to see if I can, if I just do a really thin line like that, right? Yeah. And then if I just do, not to the top, just lines, but I'm not joining them up. I just want to try something because I've got a feeling if I do it like this, right, and not joining them up, like, let's see if this works. See, then if I've got that, I don't know if you can see this. Yeah, right, exactly that. So now, right, if I go in there like that, I know it feels like you can't see anything, but what I can do now is, see, so I can come in there and I can join that up. And then I can come in there and I can make a new one like so. So that one I make, and then that one I join up. And now I'm getting my white. Do you see what I'm doing? So I'm using the lines like that. There you go, look. If we've missed one, we'll put one in. There you go. So this way, yeah, that worked well, Barbara. Even if I say so myself. There you see. So you've got that white area, see? And I don't have to reinforce that. I know where it is now. So I've done that bit quite well. Now let's see, I need to replace my turtle like so. Yeah. So I'm going to do the same thing with all of this, you see. And so if I go, so everything that I do now, I'm going to put a line in, but I'm not going to join it up. So I'm just going to go like that, and then I mean, if I'm going to go over it with a white Posca pen anyway, it doesn't really matter. But I think this is what I want to do. Yeah. Yeah. So let's just do this line here. This is the same. Let's just do that so we got something to. That's it. So now I've got that one. And then I'm going to go in there like that. See? So that's that. And then I'll join that up. There we are. Join that up. Join that up like that. Yeah, and once I get this, it takes a little bit of focus, this what I'm doing here. But you get where I'm coming from. We've got to kind of make a little white path to get these white bits. And we can always darken them up and make them smaller, but they still need to be there to start to start with. See, so that's what we're going to do. And you know, the question is, of course, let's have a think. Okay, this one next. I think with these ones, I might just run the gauntlet and do this really lightly. See what I've got. So you could do that really lightly, and then you can. So you've still got your lovely shape. There you go. And then you can add it afterwards, look. So once you've got your shape, you just add a box inside. That works as well. There you go. By the time you've done all the colouring in, it'll be perfect. There you go. Don't know what, something's happened here. It's okay. Markings. Perfect. So you can see how you're going to get that same thing on the leg as well. And then we're going to get a lovely eye sorted out. So I think what I'll do is I'm going to pursue this at the weekend, right? You know where the process now, you understand where I'm going. What I'm going to do now is transfer to the other one that I was doing on white. So we can do this one if we choose to. We understand what we're doing. And now we're going to do some colouring, okay? Because that's more relaxing than that. That I need to concentrate when I'm on my own and I'm not talking at the same time. How is everybody? Good? Let's have a look then at the colouring. Let's do some colouring. And then what we're going to do is blend the two. So over the weekend, I've got the weekend off. Well, not off. I've got lots of work to do. There's so much going on at the moment, friends. But it's okay. You know, it's okay. We're getting ready for the retreats. And it's always full steam ahead. The week before the retreats, there's always a lot of work. Just tying it all together. Looking forward to it, though. I've been on the phone to Linda Williams. She's coming down, obviously, for the weekend for the Parchment retreat, which is being bolted onto the 4 days that I'm doing. So it'd be lovely to see her and Rob again. That'll be great. And yeah, we're going to have a good time. Linda's projects are immaculate. So if you fancy spending a couple of days with the Queen of Parchment herself, then you ought to investigate. There are still a couple of places on there, and I'm doing what am I doing? Acrylic paint. I know, in for a penny. We're going to be. I know that a lot of people want to use the jelly plate and they want to get really good at the gel press. And we're all getting quite proficient at using ink, which is why we're going to do that alcohol ink on jelly plate. You know, we're good at that. We're very good at ink transfers, aren't we? We use ink on the gel press, no problem. We can do bow wob transfers, no problem. We're getting good at those things, right? We've done workshops for it. But the one thing that a lot of us are still a little bit apprehensive about is acrylic paint. So I thought, rather than just try acrylic paint on a jelly plate again, which we did it 10 years ago. Anybody that was at the rugby club will remember that. Yeah, so I thought, for me, I think what's more important is that you get to know your material, right? If you become familiar, it's like clay. When you become familiar with the way the material behaves, the way it reacts, what happens when you add water. This is acrylic paint. There are different brands of acrylic paint. It behaves in different ways, right? And I thought, right, well, let's separate out. Let's just explore acrylic paint. It's so fun. It's so versatile and so beautiful to use, right? And we have to get over this fear that we have around, because we didn't go to art college in the main. I don't know many crafters in our community that did, and I've got an art degree. I certainly don't have one. And so it's like acrylic paint, it eluded us. We didn't go down that road. And, you know, yeah, okay. So we try really hard and we try, and I see you trying and I see you running at it again and again. And some of you are really doing well and others are just getting frustrated. And I thought, I know what we're going to do. We're going to tackle the material, and we're going to do something completely different. We're going to take a whole other view of acrylic paint, and we're going to just allay those reservations and fears, you know, and that's what we're going to do for 2 days. And yeah, sure, we'll get the jelly plate out and we'll check it out, but we're going to make some fantastic art. So if you fancy joining me and a few friends on an acrylic paint adventure for 2 days, then do us a favor and just look it up online on the website. The workshops are available, and I'm sure that she'll put up the link for you. But I just thought it's one of those ones where it would be great if we could be in the room together doing it, you know. I'll give it a go. All right. I'm really excited to show you what we're going to do, but it's a secret until we get there. So, but I can show you the stamps that we're going to be using. In fact, I'm launching one of the sets tomorrow, but we'll get to that in a minute. Let's do some colouring. So, good practice. What I've done is I've taken the colours that I'm using. Okay, got my colours and I've written them down so you can see exactly. These are my colours. You can use any colours. Friends, you can use watercolour. You can use watercolour paint. You could use acrylic paint. Add water. Guess what? You've got watercolour. I know. Fantastic. Yeah. Right. In fact, maybe we could try that after the course. You know, start using acrylic paint to paint. You know, the clue's in the word paint, I suppose. But let's use these polychromos pencils and let's have a look. So I'm gonna take cream and I'm going to just bear with me a second. So I want that color photo. Where is it? See, because it gives me some. I just want to show you how we're just going to add a little, very light. You don't. It's a light touch. This is because if you press too hard, then what will happen is you won't be able to add any color over the top because you're adding a kind of a seal. You're creating a seal, like a wax oil seal, see? So I'm putting the yellow there, and I'm leaving these bits. I think they'll be nice and green. See, so I've done a bit of that. I'm not going to worry about if the white's not white, because I can add that afterwards with, you know what, you can use a Posca pen and a tiny brush. You know, we've got the Pergamano, the number 2 brushes. Perfect. You could go in with a Posca pen, use that. You could use white acrylic paint and the number 2 pen, number 2 paintbrush. You know, so many different ways to get in that line and create that white line there. Don't overthink it, but leave a gap to start with. That's certainly. See, now this one's a bit darker, but we'll still let's put a little bit of that yellow on there anyway, just so that it's there. There you go. Just a little bit of that yellow. That'll do. These are really dark. These are green more than anything. All right, okay. So the next one is the ochre. I've got that one there. So this is that one, 184. See, so this one's going to start giving us a little bit of shape. So say, for example, just around, start kissing the line. Start kissing the outside, see? Gently does it. And if you put the yellow in gently and lightly, then you'll find it's no problem to add another colour over the top. You could add colour on colour on colour on colour, and which is what we will do. And what you'll find is, provided you haven't pressed too hard and created a seal, you'll be able to add loads of lovely colour. See how it changes it. If you did press too hard, let's say, and you think, oh, right, I can feel that I'm not able to add any more, then all you need to do is just loosen it up with an eraser or an eraser pencil. You know, the pink pencil the Faber-Castell pink one? That might be better actually, because it's more direct. You can, you know, if the whole area is sealed, then you probably just want to take rubber and just rub over. And what that does is it breaks up the seal again, and off you go again. The marvelous thing about these polychromos, of course, is that you can take it back. If you think you've gone too dark, just lift it off with an eraser. They're lovely to use. The pergoliners that we sell are the same animal. They're the same type of pencil. They're oil-based as well. There. So now, just add a little bit of depth, you see? Don't overthink it. Just what we're doing is we've decided what colours we're going to use, you see? And now we're just going to add a little bit of colour like this. It's nice to do. It's lovely. Look. Just try and remember to leave that white, you know, the white ledge, that little white line. There. How are we doing, friends? Are we all right? So on my travels with Sam, when we were on our road trip, we were at the Monterey Aquarium. Like I told you, this is where we saw the pelicans as well. Oh, Sam couldn't get over the pelicans. It was a beautiful part of the world. And then we went from there. We spent a couple of days there because it was just a delightful part of the world. Let's do a little bit of ochre here as well. So we explored, you know, Cannery Row and did all that. A very nice part of the world. Pacific Grove, Carmel, 17-mile drive, Lone Cypress, all the things that I talked about on Monday. And then on Sunday, we started heading inland, and we went to, we had a pit stop at Bakersfield, which isn't really not exciting, Bakersfield is all right. We just I booked us, for me, what was more important was to find a hotel that had a swimming pool, because I knew that as soon as we went inland, it was gonna start getting hot, and it did. It really did. Let's add a little bit of green in this area. Let's just go with a bit of green. Just push the boat out. Um, Always remembering that white edge. Um, yeah, shit, it got hot. So, we got to Bakersfield. We found a nice well, I booked it ahead of time, got a good hotel, and we hung out at the swimming pool. We just stayed there the night, you know. The trip was kind of broken up into into thirds, into three parts. And what we did was the first week we spent on the coast. So we spent time with Mark in San Francisco, then we spent time in Monterey. So we spent a week on the coastline, on the Pacific coastline. And then the second week, we were on the road. It was the proverbial road trip, right? So we started heading inland. And so we traveled from San Francisco to Monterey to Bakersfield. Next stop, Las Vegas. So this is, you know, the thing about America, everything's a long way away, you know. It takes forever to get everywhere. But does that look nice? Yeah, I like it. I like it. You know, everything's a long way away in America. Nothing's around the corner, you know. Even the supermarket, you know, you can't walk to the supermarket. You have to drive, and it's usually a good hour away. So Bakersfield, then we went I think I drove 4 hours to Las Vegas, and I booked us into the Bellagio, which is a really lovely hotel with the water. And we went to Cirque du Soleil. We saw a show. It was so hot though. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. You can't, because on the coastline we were wearing anoraks, and then as soon as we went inland, it was like 100. It at one point I looked inside the car. It was 112 degrees. This was in the Diablo Mountains. I mean, the devil, Diablo. It's the clues in the name, really. So it was about 112 in Las Vegas. You know, we ventured out of the hotel for about 10 minutes, and then we just turned around and went back in again. But there you go. That's what you get for going to Las Vegas in July. Too hot. But it was still part of the trip, and we enjoyed it. So then it was, in our language, it's about 45 degrees, you know, very, very hot, friends. So then we moved on, and we went when we left Las Vegas, we went via, what am I doing in that foot there? I think it's quite green, isn't it? When we went to after Las Vegas, we went to the Hoover Dam. I feel like I'm repeating myself, but it's probably because I've just told loads of people where we went. We went to the Hoover Dam, but we didn't really stop. I just wanted Sam really to see it. So we did that. I've been there before. It's quite a feat of engineering, I have to say. And it was on the way to the Grand Canyon. So we went to the Grand Canyon. This looks good, doesn't it? So we went to the Grand Canyon, and then I'm going to put a bit of green on this one. We stayed there for a couple of hours, but there were fires on the North Rim, so we were a bit, you know, apprehensive. We didn't stay at the Grand Canyon because of the fires. I decided that I was going to play it safe, because you don't know with fires, they move so quickly, you know. So whilst the South Rim was still safe, you know, that could change overnight, really. So what we did was we stayed in Flagstaff, which is a beautiful town, about an hour south of the Grand Canyon. So I booked us into a nice hotel there, just so that in the event of an event, we didn't have to evacuate the hotel. You know, you don't want to get into. Why would you go into an area? I mean, the only reason that we even I hated to drive past the Grand Canyon and not show Sam. It wouldn't have been right, would it? Do you know what I mean? It's like, that would have been crazy. So I'm just toning this down a little bit because it's in the shade. The white on this one is a little bit grayer. See, so I'm just using that boring beige. Do you remember our favourite one, boring beige? Let's just put a bit of boring beige in there. Looking good. Yeah, so let's get a bit of grey going there. We'll do that in a minute. I think we'll go with a little bit darker green. Let's see if we can get a bit of an accent going here. Here we go. See how you just stick to those edges. And what happens is, even though the white's not particularly white, when you're outlining and focusing on the outline of the markings, see how it automatically just accentuates, doesn't it? It accentuates the white. So I love that. Yeah, so we stayed in Flagstaff. Nice place, nice town. We didn't go down to Sedona, but I'm told that Sedona is very beautiful in Arizona. So by this time we've traveled through, you know, we've been to California. We went to Nevada. It's where the casinos are. Reno, Las Vegas. It's all legal, you see, in Nevada. And then we dipped out of Nevada into Arizona. And then we hooked up with Route 66. And then we went after Flagstaff. Remember I said it was a week on the coast, a week traveling, and then a week at the house in New Mexico. We've got a house in New Mexico that I've had for 25 years. Sam said, she said, you've got a whole other life there, haven't you? Because she met all my friends and our friends and the house, and you know, you could live there. It's there. It's there. It's lovely. You know, it's our retirement program. So we did a week, and then a week in New Mexico, which is my favorite place. It's the land of enchantment. So what we did was, and this is what I want to get to on Monday. So I really want to take you, you know, and I'm skirting over Las Vegas. It's great. It's got to be seen. Cirque du Soleil. Wow. Yada, yada, yada. But it's very, you know, it's also, there's a very dark side to Las Vegas, you know. No windows, no clocks. It's 24/7, you know, gambling. It's like a world within a world, you know. There's a very dark side to it. You see a lot of people, you know, elderly people with oxygen masks. You know, they've got their oxygen tank next to them, and they're sitting at the slot machine, and it's like, oh dear, you know, each to their own. But there's something quite sad about that. But as long as they're happy, I guess, live and let live in that. But it's not my idea of I want to grow new potatoes and strawberries in my garden. So the idea of sitting in a huge underground, it's not underground, but it feels like it might as well be, like this underground world of gambling and money and vice, and you know there's a lot of drugs and there's a lot of stuff going down, a lot of alcohol, you know, it's all going on. Yeah, it's not my bag, you know. It's each to their own, but it's not my favorite place in the world. But it has to be seen, you know, it has to be experienced. And so there you go. And then of course the further west we were east we were traveling. So then we got through Arizona, beautiful. Then we got to See, and then it started getting beautiful for me. The Grand Canyon was the beginning of this amazing area. And then we went to the, it's called the Petrified Forest, where it's not trees standing up, it's trees lying down, but they are all, they're turned to stone. They're huge, huge tree trunks, and they've all been turned to stone. So they're like crystallized. Beautiful, incredible. Sam couldn't understand until I stopped the car and we got out, and it was so hot. It was about 115 degrees. I said, just get out of the car and go and have a look, a close look at that log, what you think is a log. And when she did, she couldn't believe it. She couldn't believe the phenomenal, the crystals and the stone, and it's just breathtaking. Okay. So we went to the, so we did that. And then that's all part of the painted desert. And it's called a painted desert. And there are what they call mesa, they're mesa mountaintops. So they're table mountaintops. A mesa in Spanish is a table. And so they're flat on top. And they're very typical of Arizona, New Mexico. And they kind of go up and then they're flat on top and they go back down again. Right. But you can see the strata, the stone, the different colors of the stone. Fantastic. It looks like someone's taken a paintbrush and just painted through. So you get the purples and the blues and the greens and the pinks and the yellows and the whites, all these colors going through the millions of years, you know. Breathtaking. Such a beautiful country. And so so I knew we're moving further and further towards the land of enchantment, which is New Mexico, which is, for me, it's just exquisite. There's something about New Mexico that is so enchanting and magical, you know, and it begins with the Native American Indians. And as you get into Arizona, you start to feel their presence and you see them, and you see it in the art and in the culture. And as you move further and further away from Las Vegas, it just opens up, you know. And so we ended up in a place, we stayed the night after Flagstaff, we stayed in Gallup, Gallup. So on Monday, right, because it's 10 to 8 and I want to show you what's coming up tomorrow. But on Monday, I want to take you to Gallup, because that was really the last 2 days before we got to the house, for me, were just breathtaking. And I think for Sam as well, you know, the painted desert, the petrified forest, Gallup, Acoma, and then we got to Mountain Air. So I know it seems a bit weird drawing a green sea turtle when we're talking about the desert, but it's all part of it. We can't, you know, I think over the weekend, I think you've got a really good indication now of how, you know, see how you get on with your colouring. Okay. See how you get on with your colouring. I'm really looking forward to spending a couple of hours. I think on Sunday afternoon sounds like a perfect time to come up here, maybe listen to Grace's new book. It's a bit dark, but I'm really enjoying it, Grace. You know, Grace does Audible books, and the latest one, it's about witches. And there you go. Grace says, I can't stand Vegas. Take me to the woods or the beach any day of the week. I'm with you on that, girlfriend. The new book, let me tell you the name of the book. It's called A Resistance of Witches by Morgan Ryan. A Resistance of Witches by Morgan Ryan. And it's all about World War II, Germany, France. And Grace does all these dialects and accents phenomenally well. She plays all the parts in the book, and she just keeps you like gripped. It's one of those, it's harrowing in places, but it's really, really well executed, literally. And so so I'm doing it in small. Normally I listen to Grace's books like that in one hit, bosh. But this one, because it's quite not distressing, disturbing, not everybody would react the way I do, but it's quite close to home. It's about Germans, it's about Nazis, it's about Nazi witches, etc., etc. And then about English witches. Oh, so I'm taking it a bit at a time. I'm traveling gently through that book, but I have to say it's phenomenal. It's one of your best, Grace, if not the best so far. The more you do, the better you get, and the better you get, the more you seem to want to do. So fantastic. Not bedtime listening, Jackie. No, I just caught that out of the corner of my eye. Not bedtime listening. I would not recommend that one. No. But certainly, real in the weirdest sort of way. I love it. So on Monday, I'm going to park my turtle. Ready? And on Sunday, I'm going to do that. And I hope I'm able to show you on Monday a beautifully coloured in turtle. And that will tell you that I had a fabulous Sunday afternoon. Because then what I want to do is I want to wrap words around it and do a really beautiful poster. So I need to finish it to be able to do that. So I've got my colours, I've got my bits, I know what I'm doing. But now I want to talk to you about tomorrow, okay? Because I've got so much artwork from the design team on this set. So, I've been right globetrotters. Remember Grace and I, we went to Paris only about 2 weeks before Sam and I went on our road trip in California on the West Coast. So this it's like catching up now. This is a shout out to London, Paris, and New York. And I sketched these when I got back from Paris. I wanted to do something really grungy. And these are the stamps that I'm going to use in the retreat with the acrylic paint. So I hope you like these. Let me pan out a little bit so you can see them. But they're really, look, aren't they great, these little guys? Right, check these out. Okay, so the design team have had a fabulous time with these. They really have. They're already available on the website. 12175 is the code. And there's a bundle, but hold fire. I'm going to show you the other set. Not even the design team have got that set yet. But let me show you. So I drew these little couples. You see the pairs, and they've got their arms around each other. They've got little poodles, right? Little dogs. So I just want to show you, we've got so much artwork, but I want to show you some examples of the artwork. So Sheila Metzeler, I just want to show you some artwork because there's so much of it. And I've got a couple of demos for tomorrow lined up, 10 o'clock. Look, there you go. Sheila Metzeler. Beautiful. Linda Spencer. Paris. Paris, it's our day. Sarah Brennan. Look. This is great. Deborah Wheeler. Panel. Eiffel Tower. And then the Wee Folk. Love that. Here's one. Deborah Wheeler again. So she used the mask. We've got masks, haven't we? New York, New York. So there's the lady herself. Love the way she's done that. So this is a really fantastic piece of artwork. Dee Paramore. So I love what she's done. London, Big Ben. Of course, it rains a lot, so the umbrellas make complete sense. See, and because there are 3 different sizes and there's actually 3 different dogs as well, right? Looking in different directions, but you can get amazing perspective. Isn't that clever? Love it. Bow wallpapers in the background. So back to Big Ben again. This is great. Sheila Metzeler. Hey. So she used, what was I saying? Look, doesn't that look just superb? So easy. Look, stamp Big Ben, Wee Folk, little boy, little poodle. What a smashing card. And it's done, it's making that again, see? Excellent. Oh, Sheila obviously really likes these papers. There it is again. So it's a different one. And she's done the perspective trick. Love it. It's like a bridge. Yeah. So what have we got here? This is a great one. Dee Paramore. What a fantastic. She used the bow wallpaper, you know, with the tea bags, masked it off, just random. Isn't that gorgeous? Used all three. This is a lovely one. I love these little people. Tina Morris. I just like the little people. I'm going to do that. Well, I'm going to use these on a demo tomorrow. Just them. Andy Duggan. I like what Andy's done. He's just done a really neat tag. This is gorgeous. Deborah Wheeler. So she's used 'Tis the Season. She made a Christmas card with Big Ben. Isn't that lovely? And then we've got Debbie McMullin. I love what she's done. Isn't that gorgeous too? Yeah. And then I'm going to show you a set of notelets from Jane Telford. I really love what she's done. The color combination is great. She's used the backdrop stamp that I'm always going on about. The one I've got one for every day of the week. The little one with the writing over the top. So I've actually, where did I put that? Well, I'll have it with me tomorrow anyway. And I'm definitely going to be using it on Monday. But isn't that just nice? And so what Jane's done, she's used the smaller one so that it straddles London, Paris, and New York. Aren't they lovely? Yeah. So that's the. I was really looking forward to showing you that set because I think it's just so easy to use. You know, when you get a set of stamps and everything you do with it just looks great. So it works really well for birthdays. It works for all kinds of occasions. And these little people are delightful. Now, on the subject of little people, this is where the bundle comes in. Do you remember, cast your mind back, do you remember when we did our houses, Clarity Street? Do you remember we did the little people? We kind of went off at I think I went off to Paris at this point, but I drew these little people and then I said, look, they look lovely like that, right? That's as far as we got with the little people. Well, it's as far as we got together. I made another set and these only just came off the press. They're fresh off the press. The only person that's got these is myself. So they only got made this week, so we haven't even sent these to the design team. And these are also going to be used on the retreat. So there's a larger format for the retreat. These are the A5. Absolutely love them. I'm going to show you a couple of tricks with these tomorrow. But they're what we call the triangle people. And they're so lovely to use. You will be you'll love these. I haven't got any artwork to show you. If you come tomorrow, if you come along tomorrow at 10 o'clock, I'll show you a little idea that I've had. I've had a great idea for the retreats, but I'm holding that one back. But I will show you some. They're so nice to use. And they sit really beautifully. Interestingly, they sit really beautifully with this style. The two work so nicely together, which you wouldn't think, but they actually do. So you can use these little triangle people beautifully with these sketchy, grungy icons. And the bundle, they come together, is 12176. There you go, 12176. So, friends, tomorrow I'm on at 10 o'clock and I'm going to be showing you these, showing you more artwork. And Paul, he's already up in Redditch at Hobby Maker, and he will be on at 1 o'clock and 2 o'clock. So he's got a double hour from 1 till 3, and then he's on again at 6 o'clock in the evening. So that's 1 till 3, groovy, new plates, beautiful, and then 6 o'clock in the evening. So that's what he's up to. And other than that, I'm going to love you and leave you. Let me see if Grace has got anything to tell me. You're very welcome, Grace. Thank you so much for your help. I hope that you enjoyed this little session. I've calmed down. I've calmed down, and I hope you have too. So enjoy the rest of your evening. I'd love to see if you this weekend, if you could get to grips with that turtle or a turtle, draw a turtle, colour in a turtle. I'd love to flood Facebook with beautiful turtles. Can we do that? And tomorrow we'll be in Paris, London and New York, and we'll be showing off some lovely little simple triangle people. They were easy to draw too. Right, now, where's my mouse? Lots of love to you. Have a nice evening. Bye-bye now.